Hi foodies, let's get right into this comfort dish. I have the beef shank here. It's cut into 4 pieces. I'm going to be seasoning this with some sea salt, oxtail seasoning, crushed allspice, black pepper, and paprika. Now please bear in mind that even though I'm using beef shank for this recipe, you could do oxtail if you want to. But you guys know the price of oxtail, right? So it's really up to you. I know it would be really delicious, all right? But I'm sticking to some beef shank. I got this on sale. So I'm going to be working with that, okay? After massaging those seasonings into the beef, I'm going to add green seasoning, and it is a blend of garlic, onion, Scotch bonnet, scallion, some fresh thyme. It's going to add a lot of flavor to the beef. This kind of blend is something that you find in most Caribbean kitchens. If you don't have this already in the fridge, there is a recipe on the channel for this. I will leave the link in the description box for you. I added a drizzle of avocado oil. And then last minute, I drizzled in a little bit of browning, that is burnt caramel, something that we love to use in Caribbean cooking as well. It adds color. It's nice to let this marinate in the fridge overnight, but if you can't, then you can marinate it for about 2 hours. And then once you're ready to make this, you are going to be getting a heavy pot to make sure that it is oven safe. Otherwise, you can switch from a pot to a baking dish, okay? So in the pot, I put some avocado oil, and what I'm going to do is just to cook the meat on both sides. It doesn't have to be extremely dark, just sear it a bit. Once you get some color, then remove all pieces from the pot. Now with the same pot, go ahead and add some diced onion, diced carrot, and garlic. All right, so you're gonna cook this until everything is smelling fragrant. It doesn't have to be brown, just really fragrant. Then you're gonna add some water or beef broth. I didn't have any beef broth, so I went with water, and then I'll add a beef seasoning cube. Here I'm adding some crushed allspice, fresh thyme, some savory, and scallion. Just bring that up to a simmer. Once it comes up to a simmer, then you're going to go in with the meat. Now, this is a low and slow type of recipe. You're going to put this in the oven at 325 degrees Fahrenheit with the lid on for about 3.5 hours. For the last 30 minutes, you are going to remove the lid, okay? So 325 for about 3.5 hours. For the last 30 minutes, take off the lid. And this is the result. Really beautiful and tender meat. Depending on the age of the beef that you purchased, it might take 3 hours, it might take 3.5, it might take 4. Okay, so you can just check on it to see if it's tender. Once it's really easy to pull apart, you can remove it from the pot. Go ahead and strain the solids. We're going to use that to make a gravy later. And then the meat, you just need to shred it. You can use 2 forks or use your clean hands or put on some clean gloves and shred. So we have the shredded meat ready. For the gravy, just pour that liquid right back into the same pot. And we need to add some flavor. So we'll add the beef seasoning cube. I'll add some fish and meat sauce. If you don't have this, you can use Worcestershire sauce or steak sauce. I like to add ketchup, but if you don't want to, you can add some tomato paste. Then I'll put in a whole Scotch bonnet pepper and some scallion, and we're gonna just let this simmer to allow those flavors to get into that gravy. Once we allow some of that flavor to get into the gravy, then we just need to thicken and simply use a cornstarch slurry. Very easy. Just mix the cornstarch with the water and stir that in over a low heat for at least a minute. Do one last check for flavor and then just add the shredded meat. If you want this to be very saucy, you can always add some more beef broth or water. But if you don't need to add any of that, just go ahead and add the beef. The only thing left for you to do now is to add your cooked pasta, and I used rigatoni. This is one of my favorite pastas to do for this dish. Just stir everything together. And if you feel like you want to, change things up a bit or add some things, you could do some mushrooms. You could add some whipping cream to make this very creamy, or some shredded cheese. But just like this, it is actually quite delicious, especially if you want to take a break from having any dairy. This is tasty just the way it is. Oh, and another thing you could do is you could serve it like this and then just sprinkle on a little Parmesan, but you don't have to. Enjoy it just like this. Let me know what you think about this comfort dish. It's the perfect thing for me in this cold weather right now. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.